1, go. And let's waste no time here. We are in with game number 2, DauT versus Tim for the All-Stars League first round. And after a very quick, decisive victory from DauT in game 1, we have Tim's home map, and that is, of course, going to be Migration. Joining me once again is going to be KillerB.
Hey, man, good to be here. Yeah, I'm really excited to see this game. This is Tim's bread and butter. Migration is literally his bread and butter. And if he can win this map and maybe gain some momentum, we might see Tim be able to take another point from DauT. But at least for now, DauT is up 1-0 in this set. We will see both players starting off on their own little island. For those of you guys not familiar with Migration, the middle of the map has a bunch more land and resources that you might end up getting to. Oftentimes, this game is won or lost early on in the feudal age when players get their docks up and get their galleys out. But that middle part of the map is essential for the late game, and getting up on a hill with nice resources can really win you Migration. But yeah, I'm taking up all the time here on the mic, so I'll throw it over to you, Zach.
Yeah, no worries. So, yeah, Tim right here in the north of the map playing as the Italians in the red, and to the west of the map in the blue we have DauT playing as the Italians as well. Italians are the new king, I feel, of the water maps. They're extremely strong thanks to their cheaper upgrade cost, their cheaper fishing ships, all round a very, very good water civ, and of course they get the fire galleys, which is a new introduction to the HD version that definitely shakes up the water meta quite a lot. Though I am wondering, however, if the metagame on Migration would be different to something like Team Islands, where in Team Islands the aggression starts very quickly, and on Migration you have a lot more time to, you know, get a few galleys out, get some upgrades in before you get to the castle age and upgrade them further. And I almost feel like galley might even be the better option to go into on Migration versus your typical like Team Islands water style map. So yeah, I think that could be something to keep an eye out for. Obviously, Migration not standard resources, so players generally fish quite heavily in the early game. We see players pushing in their deer quite quickly as well. And let's have a look at the first of all, like the islands for each player. Like, are there resources close to the shoreline? And I think both of the players' gold piles are close to the shore, close enough that they can be harassed anyway. I'd say that maybe DauT's was a little closer. His berries are also close to the shoreline, whereas Tim's berries are a little more inland, I guess. I mean, I think both islands aren't particularly good for protecting the gold or the berries. And then the center of the map. Let's have a look at that as well. It looks like there's two extra golds, and they are both close to the shore as well. So that could be something to keep in mind as well as players start getting like War Galley +2 attack and range, and all of these resources become accessible from the water.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think that the center of the map, the resources are pretty clustered. Whoever can get to that fatter part of the island and maybe drop a castle on it is going to basically be in great shape. But we'll see how this one develops. At the moment, players getting their docks up and getting things going. It's going to be interesting, like you said, to see what the water meta is going to be. It is a big map. There is a lot of distance to cover. And I don't know how well the fire galley will work here versus galleys, but we'll find out just in a few minutes. For the moment, players just scouting around their islands, getting their fishing going. Nothing too crazy, no advantage for either side at the moment, I'd say. Pretty darn equal game.
Yeah, and something you said before, actually, is that you'd almost favor Tim more in the water maps. And the Chinese players also do love their Migration. So this is something that Tim should be feeling pretty strong in. And yeah, I feel like Nomad can sort of catch you off guard sometimes and can certainly throw some curveballs your way. Migration a little more standard, and well, not in terms of resources, but in terms of what you're expected to do. And Tim here, DauT here. Actually, wow, I'm just looking at these populations. DauT on 19, Tim already on 21. Has he got that many more fish already? He's got one extra fish and one extra villager, I think. Has DauT done loom, maybe? Yeah, DauT's done loom. So already, actually, Tim getting quite an advantage. DauT with loom, DauT with one less fishing ship, Tim without loom with one more. That's nice, and I would expect him to have the better start in this game now.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge advantage for Tim. I thought DauT found his sheep pretty early. I don't know why he would have had to loom, but he did loom up, and that's kind of a head scratcher. Maybe I'll have to go back and watch this one again. no reason to loom up just yet. This is a race to the feudal age at the moment, but hey, maybe DauT has something else in mind. Maybe he's not racing up to get his ships out. Like you said, it is a big map, so I guess it's going to be okay. He'll have maybe 30 seconds before Tim gets up in his grill. But yeah, to further iterate the point about Tim on this map, I don't know that he's better than DauT on this map. I just know that if I was Tim, I would feel the pressure is really on for me to win this one, because this is a map that I play a lot. And DauT is going to be really hard to get any points from whatsoever. So in this case, it's really going to have to be on migration. That would be at least in my mind if I was Tim.
Sure, absolutely. So about DauT's loom, I mean, he could have been housed. He could have just not had the food, so he researched loom in the downtime. There could be a few reasons for it, but obviously it's not the ideal route. It makes sense to delay or not even get loom at all, since you're, as you say, kind of racing here to get the food income. Second dock for both players up and running, and it suddenly looks like DauT has caught up a little in the fishing ships. He's got 5 up right now. Same actually for Tim. So Tim still retains an advantage here. And that's where, again, the Italians are very strong with the fact that their fishing ships only cost 50 wood. And that actually means that you can afford to get a mill and start taking your berries a little bit sooner, perhaps. Or, you know, maybe get that second dock a little bit sooner and start getting the fish out as well. Of course, in a mirror matchup, that advantage is mitigated by the fact that your opponent has the same civ. But in a non-mirror match, that is definitely something that the Italians are going to have on their side. And on a map like Migration, where you don't have the boar, it's definitely a big factor to keep take into consideration. Sorry.
So we've got a huge development here. Well, I mean, huge is all relative, but Tim has found a couple of sheep in the middle of the map, and he's now sheep scouting and getting an idea of where to go. So if this game goes long, Tim might have a really huge advantage, knowing basically not only where his opponent's docks will be, using a fishing ship to scout, but also knowing where the good spot of the migration island is. He's going to know exactly where to go.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. Tim has sent that one fishing ship out, and he's seen the dock on the left side, and he knows exactly where DauT's island is. He's, as you say, also got the sheep in the middle, so he's going to find the gold, he's going to find the stone. And knowledge, map knowledge is really valuable. It's going to allow him to make better decisions as the game goes on and not really, play into the dark. So that's definitely a good move from Tim as he goes up to the feudal age here. 43 population. DauT up to feudal a little bit faster on 40. And, this is the kind of map where you see a couple of galleys coming out and then it's like a fast castle. So far, though, neither player adding any military ships just yet, as they keep pumping out those fish for now, feeling a little greedy perhaps.
Yeah, the fishing ships coming out en masse at the moment. Both guys going deep into fishing, and that can be why this game can be won or lost so early. If you do lose the water and you do lose some of your fishing, it can really cripple your economy. I think it's 3 docks for both guys at the moment. DauT is going up now with a 4th. DauT has 2 on each side of his island. Tim is going to go with a similar strategy by the looks of it, but just 3 docks at the moment for Tim. Here's the 4th. So 2 on each side of the island for both guys.
Yeah, that's quite typical to spread the docks as well. But, it's really smart. Another reason why it's good for Tim to scout so early is that sometimes on migration, the landmass is kind of shifted to one side and players actually end up being very close together. And if you actually scout that, you can actually really blindside your opponent by sending a few early galleys across and killing some fish before they're even expecting it. So it's always valuable to get that knowledge. And I feel like DauT could have even played a risky game here by not getting any of that information. If they had been close together, which does sometimes happen, then yeah, it could be a real issue. But Tim and DauT just going for this sort of standard fast castle kind of thing. Market blacksmith coming up for both players, it seems. And I think DauT's going to be the first to castle here. He was the first to feudal as well.
Yeah, DauT will click up first, but it's not going to be as big of an advantage as it was. It doesn't look... Well, Tim's going to go for one more vill, so never mind. Never mind what I said. Tim is just waiting on one more vill and a little more food. So DauT will have a nice little advantage getting up before his opponent. And we will see fire galleys being queued on the top side of the island for DauT. And on the bottom side as well. So it looks like 3 to 4 docks being queued up with fire galleys for DauT. and Tim on the other side is probably doing the same thing.
Yeah, and it's interesting that both players are going for the fire galleys, and I thought that maybe they could consider going for the standard galley since they have got the time to do the upgrades and all that good stuff. But I guess another advantage of the fire galley is that you don't need to spend those resources on fletching. You don't need to spend the resources on bodkin arrow. You can just upgrade the war galley and be done with it. So in that regard, they're a little cheaper, and that also then plays into the fact that you can do a faster Imperial time with the fire galleys as well, given that you have so many fishing ships at this point, and the fact that your Imperial Age upgrade costs less as the Italians as well. Look at how many villagers Tim has on gold right now. He's mining gold like crazy. Same could be said for DauT. Neither player gathering any berries whatsoever, and it looks like both players have got a very similar strategy going on here, and I think they're just looking for a very fast Imperial time. But just look at DauT's food. He's nearly got 1,000 food in the bank already, and don't be surprised if you see DauT going up to Imperial like in a few minutes time here.
Yeah, DauT is adding in a demo ship early in the north of the map. He's going to send that up toward Tim's fire galleys and see if he can get a good demo shot. I think Tim is maybe going with a bit more of a standard build where he's going to build galleys behind his fire galleys. Castle Age comes in for DauT, and like you said, he's already got a huge head start on food, just needs a bit more gold and a couple of buildings. Either player making a move for the center of the island, but DauT has finally found a sheep, and he is finally getting an idea of what's going on in the middle. Tim on the other side is pretty much scouted the entire thing.
Yeah, what's interesting actually is that Tim is... Okay, there's a bit of engagement in the north, which Tim is winning, by the way. But Tim actually did make a transport ship, I believe. And he's actually... Yeah, it's on the right side of his base. And he's sending his scout across now. I'm not sure why, because he's basically scouted the whole thing anyway. But maybe he'll send a villager as well and look for a TC out there. But the difference in resources right now is astounding. DauT... 800 food, 400 gold. Tim, 200 food, 400 gold. That's quite a big difference. Now, both players also transitioning into war galleys, and honestly, I did expect this. But no, like, really big engagements going on so far. It looks like both players are making that play towards the center of the map with the transports now.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to note that DauT, although he did find a sheep, did not scout the best part of the island yet, and he's going to land on basically the worst part of the island. I mean, it's thin, there's a little bit of wood line here, and that's it. So at least initially, Tim should have a little advantage. His villager is headed straight toward the best part of the map. The only issue is just one villager for Tim could be a little bit slower for him to actually take over the middle, and he could get that villager picked if he's not careful. He's got to stay close by with the scout.
Yeah, Tim, of course, sees everything. He knows all. And he's actually building a monastery on top of this hill here to put that mighty relic inside of. I'm just wondering that... Oh, wow, okay. DauT's seen the transport ship. He's attacking it with his scout. And considering this is considered a water map, we've not really seen much action on the water at all so far, as both players seem quite content to almost just leave each other alone and play quite defensively on each side. DauT now going to come up here and see the monastery from Tim. And I don't think he'll be able to kill that villager. He's got 2 little health on his scout, and Tim's scout is nearby, but he'll get some information. And we've got a university, a monastery from DauT, and don't be surprised if he clicks up to the Imperial Age soon after, as I said a moment ago.
Yeah, it's an interesting map setup right now. University coming for DauT, like you said, he's got 3 villagers on the central island. I think that could help him get an advantage. I mean, Tim is sitting in the best part of the map. But DauT has the extra villagers. Big engagement, though, off to the east of the map at the moment. Looks like DauT running in or sailing in with quite a few fire ships with war galleys behind it. But DauT will retreat away from this, and Tim's going to get a really nice engagement.
Yeah, I mean, Tim is just getting ballistics right now. That's a 95%, and certainly going to help as DauT retreats, though it came in a little late, I suppose. But yeah, Tim... definitely feeling like he's got the edge on the water at the moment, whilst DauT does push in on the top side and seems to get the advantage over there. But don't forget, DauT is on the way up to Imp, and Tim won't be far behind. He just needs a little bit more gold right now. Bear in mind that, of course, it's cheaper for the Italians, and he should be up as well. But DauT does have that edge, and that could be something to... well, basically allow him to take the water control quite quickly once he does hit the Imperial Age here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see that happen.
Yeah, while we were watching the water, it looks like Tim was able to kill one of DauT's villagers and his scout, and then DauT was able to kill Tim's scout as well. So now it is 2 villagers on the island for DauT and 1 villager for Tim. We'll continue to wait for those guys to build up. But yeah, the water is starting to heat up quite a lot. We've got DauT pushing on the top side. Tim should be able to reinforce this and hold this, but DauT is keeping Tim's attention there. Meanwhile, Tim is getting closer to DauT's side of the map, but it looks like DauT will hold there as well. So a very defensive game so far.
And bringing in the demolition ship for a little bit of added damage. He will take the victory out on that left side. Yeah, this is actually looking pretty good for DauT at the moment, I feel. Although actually on the south side, he might end up getting pushed back. I thought he was going to win that fight, to be honest. I really thought he had that. But he's actually going to have to retreat even more now. DauT also finishing up ballistics now as well. That is done. But yeah, actually, DauT here, I thought he'd actually win the fight in the south, and he did not. Although it's him, would you believe it? Still hasn't clicked up to the Imperial Age yet.
Tim is, yeah, he's taking a little bit more time to put some villagers on stone right now. He's got 5 vills on stone, and that could be slowing his economy down quite a bit. DauT, as you said, hitting Imp. Doesn't have any stone in the bank right now, but he's going to send villagers over to mine a little bit of stone as we speak. So both guys thinking about maybe getting some castles down in the middle of the map here at some point in the future. Tim's going to get frisky with his monk here and maybe grab a conversion, I would think. But yeah, for the moment, everybody's kind of waiting in a defensive maneuver, a holding pattern for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, actually, this is interesting because DauT's going to have such an edge with this Imperial Age upgrade. Fast Fire has been completed. Galleon is on the way. DauT here is getting Bracer right now. Those technologies are coming in very quickly. But Tim does have a lot more boats on the water as well. So even though DauT has those techs, it's not enough for him to push it because he's just so outnumbered at the moment. He's finished Fast Fire, he's finished Galleon, he's finished Bracer, yet he's still on the retreat. And that's actually a really good thing for Tim right now, who is slowly but surely working his way to the Imperial Age at 50%.
Tim with 2 relics at the moment. DauT is pulling in a second relic as we speak, but DauT just had his second or I should say his last villager on the main island converted. So for the moment, DauT won't have any villagers working or building on the central island. It's not a huge deal because neither player is taking a ton of possession, but we can see that Tim, part of his strategy will be to build a TC in that center island, and DauT for now is not going to be able to do so.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a really good thing for Tim. Start to lay claim to this bountiful area of the map. Obviously, there is only a finite amount of gold on their starting islands, and although it's going to be lasting them a little longer, they do need to start thinking about that center area as well. But yeah, I mean, DauT here still hasn't been able to really do that much damage since he hit Imp. He's pushing now on the right side of Tim's sort of river, I guess, and Tim should be able to bring enough boats over to defend this, I think. He's definitely got a good number of war galleys out here. Obviously, both players having ship armor, and Tim just lacking those Imperial upgrades, but there he is. He's in the Imperial Age himself. Let's see, Galleon coming straight in, Bracer coming in, but no fire ship from Tim, or fast fire ship, I should say.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm watching Tim build up his eco on the central island. DauT has landed a few more villagers. Tim immediately converts one of them and then tries to run back with his monk. We'll see how that goes. But Tim doing a pretty good job to annoy DauT in the middle. Big engagement in the center. It does look like DauT could push that eventually, but Tim will be reinforcing from much closer docks. So I think eventually we will see Tim clean up that side.
These fast fires from DauT, though, are doing some serious damage. Yeah. Like, they have just so tanky, and they stayed alive for so long as well. This one is gonna go down, I think, but I mean, seriously, 3 fire ships, and the third one still hasn't gone down yet. That was a really good trade for DauT, as he's just cleaning this up out here. Tim now does have equal technology apart from chemistry, which he has not completed yet. But Tim does have that second TC in the middle, and that could be something quite valuable for him as this game sort of goes on. DauT getting some good trades, but once again has to run back as Tim maintains his position on the water. And DauT coming in once again with another army, but it's a long way to travel. And as you said, Tim sort of having that defender's advantage, reinforcing from much closer docks, means that by the time DauT's reinforcements arrive, Tim's army is already built back up again, and DauT just cannot seem to break through.
So two really impressive things happened while you were looking at the water, while DauT was looking at the water. Tim was able to convert a villager of DauT's. DauT chased the monk back to the TC with 4 villagers. Tim killed all 4 of the villagers under his TC with the arrow fire. So DauT losing 5 more villagers on the central island.
Very nice.
And Tim did also poach the relic that was in the far north of the map. Tim will run in and knock DauT's monk down.
Poor guy.
A bunch of healthy young people beating up an old man. Nothing wrong with that. And then he'll castle the center.
Nice.
So it's looking like a really nice development on the land for Tim.
Yeah, Tim's just completing fast fire now as well, and I think he's going to be able to hold at this point against whatever DauT throws at him, to be honest, on the water, that is. Tim's just really like solidifying his position in the center of the map, and I think that's such a valuable thing to do. The fact that he killed those villagers and DauT now has to send more villagers across, it's just messy for DauT, and by the time he gets over there, well, that castle's going to be up, and Tim's going to have basically all of the additional resources on lockdown for the time being. There you go. DauT dropping the villagers across, and they're immediately being sniped by this castle. Oh, it's just ugly for DauT right now.
Oh man, 4 more villagers down and a monk. It's really painful for DauT. And 4 monks from Tim waltzing over to convert. Oh, guess what? 4 villagers. So those villagers from DauT might not make it very long. And Tim is, like you said, he's sort of calcifying his position in the middle. In the meantime, Tim's probably using those extra resources to make a little bit more of a water push. He seems to be pushing DauT back in the north. DauT's still got a big push in the south. He does have a good number of ships there, actually sort of in the center of the map.
Yeah.
But I think we're both on the same page here that Tim's kind of got himself in a really safe and nice position and should be able to hold this game. He's just got to not make any mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing for Tim right now, denying all these extra resources for DauT, and it's basically put DauT on a bit of a timer, because if DauT cannot regain control of the center of the map, he's eventually going to be basically, starved out of wood, starved out of gold. It's not going to last forever, and he can only make so many ships before he needs the additional gold piles and stone piles in the center. Gold piles and wood in the center of the map. So, yeah, I mean, not only that, but Tim, I believe, does have 4 relics now. Oh, sorry, he has 3 relics now. Certainly not too bad. DauT has 2, but it's really these gold mines which are worth fighting for. DauT on the left side going to build a castle with this 1 villager, so by the time she's done with that, all of the resources on his home island might have already been depleted, but maybe he's thinking I'll get a Treb out and maybe try and shut that down. But Tim's moving back out with the monks, and I tell you what, these monks have been really valuable for Tim this game, getting a lot of very, very important conversions.
Yeah, Tim is going to try to convert a ship or 2 here. DauT's actually going to be kind of in a really nice spot. It would have been a real issue if Tim walked over and converted 3 more villagers from DauT. It would just be devastating. But it looks like DauT will transport a few more vills. He'll get his castle up, and he'll have a bit of a foothold on the central island. He'll also have a castle that will protect the rivers and channels nearby that area. So it's not the worst position in the world, but I'm sure he'd rather have Tim's spot. Tim is now to the north of DauT's island, doing some raiding with Galleon, as they say, and keeping his ships basically protected with a meat shield of fire ships. So Tim here getting in some really nice damage on DauT's eco.
Oh, that's absolutely huge for Tim as well, because if he can keep these galleons here, he can disrupt the villagers mining gold. But right now, I mean, DauT does have 1,200 gold in the bank. I think it's the wood that he needs to worry about. I'm amazed because DauT right now has 18 lumberjacks, which is not that many, really, considering that Tim has 40 at this stage, and that's a Wallalo GG from DauT there in the chat, as he will call it right there, knowing that he just cannot access those important resources, and his economy is kind of fallen to shambles, really.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of DauT. Don't get me wrong, but I'm very happy to see Tim get a win here. I think he's the underdog a bit in this series. And sometimes getting a win in a game like this and building some confidence and realizing that you beat your opponent with maybe some better meta can carry you into some confidence in game 3. I think Tim's going to have his hands full with DauT in game 3, and he needs at least to have some confidence So looking forward to that. But for now, the score is tied 1-1 between these guys.
Yeah, and of course, as you said before, this isn't a best of three. It's 3 games either way. Every point counts. That's really important to remember. Yeah, I do think looking back on that game, though, DauT did play well. I mean, he had such an advantage going to the Imperial Age. But I think Tim did have the bigger economy. He definitely had more fishing ships working for longer. And, Tim wasn't too bothered about going to the Imperial Age super quick. Because even though DauT did have that edge, he wasn't able to do anything with it. By the time the text came through, by the time he moved some boats to the other side of the map, Tim had massed enough units and was able to defend. And then, in the meantime, with that lockdown on the center of the map, DauT couldn't access the important resources that he needed in the late game, and that was a GG for Tim. So good game for him, and I think you're right with what you said as well. The sort of mental side of things, Tim definitely going to feel like he's got a good shot in game number 3.